Martha Needle was an Australian serial killer born in Morgan, South Australia. She is infamously known for poisoning her husband, three daughters, and her brother-in-law, leading to her execution in 1894. Her case has been described as one of the most notorious in Australian criminal history, earning her the moniker the Black Widow, due to her manipulative and deadly actions masked by a facade of a devoted mother and wife. Martha Needle was born on April 9, 1864, in Morgan, South Australia. She had a troubled and abusive early life that significantly shaped her later actions. Martha's parents, Joseph Henry Charles and Mary Charles, separated before her birth. When she was 2 years old, her mother remarried Daniel Foran, a man described as brutish. The family lived in poverty, and Martha's childhood was marred by violence. Reports indicate that her mother was an alcoholic, frequently convicted for drunkenness and related offenses. Martha was subjected to severe physical abuse by her mother, who would reportedly beat her with sticks and ropes. Martha's stepfather was even more abusive. In 1876, he was imprisoned for sexually assaulting her when she was just 11 years old. This traumatic upbringing likely contributed to her psychological instability and later criminal behavior. Martha left home at the age of 13 and began working as a housekeeper. At the age of 17, Martha married Henry Needle, a carpenter 5 years her senior. The couple initially moved to Sydney, where their first child, Mabel, was born in 1882. They later had two more daughters, Elsie and May. The family eventually settled in Richmond, Melbourne, around 1885. Despite appearing to be a well-matched couple, their relationship deteriorated over time. Henry was described as shy and jealous, often resorting to violence, while Martha was noted for her beauty and charm, which may have attracted the attention of other men. This dynamic likely created further tension in their marriage. Following the decline of their relationship, the first significant death was that of their eldest daughter, Mabel, who died on February 23, 1885, after a brief illness. Martha collected a substantial life insurance payout of $100 from Mabel's death. Henry Needle, who had been suffering from various ailments, died on October 4, 1889. His death was attributed to a mysterious illness, and Martha received $200 in life insurance. The deaths of their other daughters, Elsie and May, followed shortly after. Elsie died on December 9, 1890, and May on August 27, 1891. Both deaths were also surrounded by suspicion, and Martha collected additional insurance payouts. During this time, Martha befriended the Junkin family, particularly Otto Junkin, with whom she became romantically involved. However, her relationship with Otto's brother, Louis, became contentious. Louis opposed the engagement, and shortly after, he fell ill and died under suspicious circumstances. In June 1894, another brother, Herman Junkin, visited Martha and became gravely ill after consuming a meal she prepared. His doctor suspected poisoning and arranged for an analysis of Herman's vomit. It revealed arsenic colored by charcoal, similar to the popular rat poison rough-on rats. The doctor called the police. After Herman recovered, the police set a trap. They hid outside the Junkin house as Herman went in for tea. Within minutes, Martha was caught in the very act of offering a cup of tea containing 10 grains of arsenic to Herman. A box of rough-on rats was found in the cupboard. Martha Needle's trial for the murder of her brother-in-law, Louis Junkin, was a significant event in Australian legal history, marked by public fascination and sensational media coverage. The trial commenced in September 1894 and took place in the criminal court before Mr. Justice Hodges. It lasted for 3 days and was characterized by dramatic testimony and evidence. Martha was charged with the murder of Louis, who had died on May 15, 1894, after exhibiting severe symptoms indicative of poisoning. The prosecution presented compelling evidence, including the exhumation of Louis' body, which revealed fatal levels of arsenic, as well as the bodies of her husband and daughters, which also contained traces of the poison. Martha's defense team attempted to argue that she was not responsible for her actions, citing periods of unconsciousness and fits, but this defense was not convincingly supported by medical experts. Justice Hodges ultimately rejected the plea of insanity. After approximately 40 minutes of deliberation, the jury returned a guilty verdict. When asked if she had anything to say, Martha maintained her innocence, asserting, "I am not guilty. It is undeserved. I am not guilty of this charge." On September 28, 1894, Justice Hodges sentenced Martha Needle to death, emphasizing the seriousness of her crimes. The public's interest in the case was palpable, reflecting societal anxieties about women who committed violent acts. Martha was executed by hanging on October 22, 1894, at the Melbourne jail. On the morning of her execution, she was attended by her spiritual advisor, Reverend H. F. Scott. When offered the chance to make a final statement, she simply replied, "I have nothing to say. Thank you, sir." She walked to the scaffold without assistance, and the execution was carried out swiftly. Martha Needle's execution marked her as one of the few women to be hanged in Australia, and her case remains one of the most notorious examples of female criminality in the country's history. Despite her claims of innocence, her life and actions left a complex legacy intertwined with themes of mental health, domestic violence, and societal perceptions of women during that era. Martha Needle's story has been revisited in recent years, particularly through the works of authors like Dr. Samantha Badams, who explores her life and the psychological factors that may have contributed to her actions. Badams' book, The Secret Art of Poisoning, examines the complexities of Needle's case, including societal attitudes towards women and mental health at the time. Martha Needle's legacy remains a chilling reminder of the darker aspects of human nature and the societal conditions that can lead to such tragic outcomes.